Hey everybody, this is your boy, the Sainternal One, Saint Dez, and I'm back. It's kind of funny how life do you. I had been slow for the longest, had started to work towards putting together this Big Japan Pro Wrestling YouTube, I guess you would call it the slow grind, as I always say. And as I was in the process of trying to get this up and going and present it to everyone, then life got extremely busy for me. So what was only going to be like maybe a 1 or 2 day break became a 2 week, hiatus. So one of the things I wanted to let everyone know is I'm actually pushing forward with this. I'm going to see where this leads to, and I'm hopefully not only going to have this as one of my main focus points, but I'm also planning on trying to do maybe a full Fire Pro Wrestling World, just all totally Fire Pro Wrestling World like simulation, and then I'm also planning on doing just a total, just all total extreme wrestling, kind of like simulation as well. So right now, this is a hybrid. In case you didn't know before, my plan is to take Big Japan Pro Wrestling, and we're going to do a hybrid setup where we're going to have Five Pro Wrestling World that's going to show the matches, and we're going to use one of the greatest wrestling simulation games of all time. This is the latest version, Total Extreme Wrestling 2020, and we're going to combine them together to give not only the in-ring action but also the behind-the-scenes action, and we're going to see where this leads us. And I'm going to continue to do this in case people likes it, and in case people don't like it. But this is something that I really want to do. Have been wanting to do for a while now, and that's what I'm going forward with. So now I'm going to give us a quick status of where we at, and then we're going to go from there. So we just got through having the very first pay per view of Big Japan Pro Wrestling ever since I had got full control of the company, had did a couple of shows to get us to this point, and now everything is going to be set. So I'm going to tell us about where our storylines is going to be, even though Big Japan Pro Wrestling don't have to have pretty much any type of storylines. I got those. I'm going to kind of touch on them, and then we're going to keep up with pretty much the news article. I probably will change this later on to fit what we are trying to do, but right now we're going to continue to keep up with how the wrestling world is showing us what's going on in the world. And one of the things we're going to do is see how we're going to have to work around what is presented to us. One of the things I'm noticing that's a big deal with Big Japan Pro Wrestling is the wrestlers get injured extremely easy. So because of how brutal and violent they are, so that's something that's we're gonna have to continue to work with. And another thing is I didn't put a lot of actual commentary. I don't think I put any commentary at all in any of the matches, and I'm gonna do that so that it actually is gonna have a more lively and more authentic feel to it, so that you're not just sitting there looking at CPU versus CPU. So right now, kind of go over what we got right now. As I said, we had Big Japan Pro Wrestling. We had our pay per view. Our show attendance, show rating, was 52, and we had 6,680 there. During the actual pay per view itself, we had just a little over half a million viewers, and the I tried my best to cram everybody onto this show. So during this, we was able to find out that El Lindemann beat Ito in a barbed wire board match to actually win the deathmatch heavyweight title. And one of the other things we had Takura Nomura, and yes, I will butcher some of these names, but I'm going to continue to work on that. He wins the BJW Junior Heavyweight title, and I want to say that I had picked Oh yeah, we had Takeda Machado Shahida Takeda. He beat Saint Dez and Jake Lee. And Saint Dez, in case you didn't know, is me. He beats us for the strong heavyweight title. And for whatever reason, I didn't put that in my show notes. But we had a lot of these other matches here. So this is what we got going on right now. So that's where our pay per view was, and had some post shows and some pre show matches. So now, to kind of give you an update of what's going on, one of the things is we see is that, right, Yuji Ito, he actually got hurt in a match. He had like a dislocated knee, after the pay per view, and it was something else that I wanted to stress to us. And pretty much, as I was saying, I want us to really use this as a tool to kind of, have this in separate setups. I'm going to have like a video upload that's going to talk about the weeks leading up to the actual pay-per-view or the actual show that's coming up, and then I'm going to have a separate video that's going to have just the show itself, so that these videos don't overrun the target and become like a 40 or 50 minute video. So since don't have anything there, I'm going to now go into this to just kind of show you where we at. One of the major signings that we was able to get is we got Samoa Joe getting ready to come in, and I want to say that if everything continues to go the way that I'm hoping, he is supposed to come in I want to say 25 days from now. He's currently is not a part of this, so it's like I hired him, but I don't know when he's actually going to get here. I want to say, if I remember correctly, it's going to be in like 25 more days. So that's like one of our major signings. WWE didn't want Samoa Joe anymore, and I didn't even think that we would be able to get him. But not only were we able to get him, but I'm thinking that he could wind up being a major player to take us to the next level. Quick rundown: we consider to be the 18th ranked wrestling promotion in the world. We got around $4 million in the bank. We made $316,000 last month, and we're currently at like 58% of momentum and 67% of prestige. So in 2 days, we're gonna have our next show, and as I said, I'm not going to even go deep into creative and stuff. I am going to show you our stables to kind of give you an idea of what's going on with that right here. And even though you may already know more about these stables than I do, I want you to keep in mind that this is 2 years in the future of what the gameplay was actually doing. So some of the people that was normally in these stables, they left, or someone actually was added onto them, and then I kind of did like some modifications of the stable as well. So what is the actual true members of the stables is no longer the case now. So right here, and I don't know a lot of the background. I've been trying to study up on the background of how Big Japan Pro Wrestling is and was, and it's hard to get a true history of the promotion. All you get is a lot of the death matches. So I said, you know what, forget it. I'm just, whatever I know I'm going to use, and whatever I don't know, I'm just going to go from there, because it's going to be my vision anyway. So we have to also realize that the main reason I was able to get this promotion, into the promotion, is because the owner passed away. So it's going to be more or less what my vision of the company is. So right now we have Be Faultless Junkie. We have Numazawa, we have Takeda, and then we have Tsusamoto. We have those as members of the Be Faultless Junkie. And then in the Kobashi Corps, we have Adula Kobashi and Shinobu. We have those two as members of the Kobashi Corpse, and it was actually more members, and I can't remember why I took out one of the members, but I did. Then we have like the Moon Vulcan, and one of our main players to me, and I don't know how it's gonna really end up after this month, but we got Shikimoto, we have Utu, we have Nomura, and then we have Ukabashi. We have these as our Moon Vulcan members, and we have Shikimoto. We're going to have him pretty much be like a big deal in, Big Japan, and he was already a big player in Big Japan Pro Wrestling as it is, and we're going to continue that focus. And then we have the Strong Hearts, and we got Sema, El Lindemann, Jake Lee, and Tajiri, even though Tajiri is basically there for support and pretty much to give them that recognition. The thing is, I said, there's a big problem with our Big Japan is that he's a lot of our members are hurt. So Sema is, even though he's a big player in our promotion, he's hurt. So I'm got to work towards that. So El Lindemann, when Ito he was gave us a back, and he said, I think that El Lindemann is going to be a big player here, and he gave me up to 4 months to actually take a pin or to give a push to El Lindemann, and I used it as soon as possible because I wanted to have like a good strong beginning point. So that's where El Lindemann became like the new deathmatch heavyweight champion. And then we have the St. Eternal Empire. And in case you have no idea what the St. Eternal Empire is, that is pretty much my stable. So we have St. Dez, and we have Cody Hall. We got Somani, and that is pretty much RZA from the Altar of Pain in WWE. And we have Sean Spears. And the reason I skipped over Ishikawa is because I wanted to be known that if something were to happen to me as far as being the leader of, the St. Eternal Empire, we have him as a heir to the throne, basically. How the way that Total Extreme Wrestling, TEW 2020 actually is set up, you can have this type of setup, and I'm mainly going to focus with Ishikawa being like a strong member of, Big Japan Pro Wrestling in the future. So BJ Dub is going to be really focused towards him. So in a sense, the Empire is almost like a slap into the face of the heritage and the background of the members of Big Japan Pro Wrestling. As if you notice, most of the people in here is from America, or they are like guys. I can't remember the true term, but they are not of a Japan heritage. It's like we pretty much these foreigners is coming in to take over Big Japan Pro Wrestling. So it's like a slap in the face of the culture that's been set up by BJW, and that's where I'm pretty much an outsider. And I've always loved that ever since, even before it was a such thing as the NWO. I was on that setup. So this is where this come in at, and in a sense, a traitor is gonna be Ishikawa. So now, since you got that, I'm going to give you a quick part of our storyline, and then I'm going to advance until we get to our show day. So the storyline is set up like this. It's almost like we going forward with the setup that I had leading up to the pay-per-view that just happened last night. And where we're at right now is the leader of the BJW. And what it is the uprising of the world of Big Japan Pro Wrestling, trying to figure out who is the biggest and best stable in BJW right now, and who's going to lead BJW in the future. So all of the stables that is currently in BJW is fighting for control. And all of them is connected in some type of way, and this is what you're seeing now. That's going forward. We got like Kirabashi, we have Setomoto, we have Kita, we have myself, we have pretty much everyone in a sense that's got some type of connection trying to go forward, and we're trying to see what the next step is going to be as we go, further into the months and years ahead to see who's going to be, the main focus point. And right now, this storyline is considered to be hype with the crowd. So right now, the fans love this, and we're going to continue to build on that and see where it leads us. Another thing we have Raymond Rao, who is one of the members of, I want to say it's like the Viking Raiders or Viking Warriors. I don't even keep up with WWE anymore, but he's one of those members. Pretty much, he is going against Saga, and that's going to be like a major focus point in, I want to say, in our hardcore brand. I do know in the tag team hardcore, we're going to have Nuzawawa and Ito, and we're going to have Tsumoto and Nomura. We're going to have those members going against each other. So, Nuzawawa, we're going to have N and T going against Nuramara and Utu. We're going to have those teams going against each other to pretty much just give just brutal, bloody tag team matches. And then we're going to have the Yankee 2 Kenji going against Total Control, and we're going to see where this is going to lead us as well. So these are like the four major storylines, even though Big Japan Pro Wrestling don't have to have these. This is where we're going with this. And as I said, one of the things you got to continue, excuse me, I don't know why I have such a scratchy voice right now, but this is where we're going with this to see where this is going to lead us as far as, Big Japan Pro Wrestling in the future. So now, with all of that said and done, I'm going to go ahead and go forward. Well, now we're back, and we have just got to Monday, and we're going to see what we got. Pretty much an email here. Don't see anything out of the ordinary. One thing that kind of stuck out to me is they showed that the NWA pretty much has struck a deal with NBC to begin showing NBA Power. So right now, NWA just struck a major deal to get a deal with NBC. So let's see what this email is telling us. So now we got Yushi Okabashi. He pretty much is returning from injury. So that is a big, big deal for us. So I'm glad that that's going on. So right now we're gaining some of our, actual roster members back. And I don't even know how I'm going to use certain members like himself, because I really didn't have them in anything as far as, future matches or storylines. So having him to come back, he's on our strong brand, and he's pretty much got pretty warm momentum. So he's in the heavyweight division and everything like that. So, and he's a member of the Moonvoken. So that's one of the things that's going to be a big deal going forward for us. But other than that, I don't see anything that was of any concern. So we're going to continue to go forward from here. Well, to just pretty much let you know that we have got to the day. It's pretty much Tuesday. We're getting ready to have our show, tonight. And one of the things that I'm just seeing is like, as a major thing, Kevin Owens get ready to be in a major feud going into the, next days for it and stuff. And I really don't see anything other than that that's going to be anything major for us. So one of the main things I want us to know is, as we get ready to go forward, I've already got the card pretty much wrestled out, I guess is the best term to say, as far as the Fire Pro Wrestling ENW is concerned. So I'm going to go ahead and upload this, put the card together, get it out to everybody, and hopefully we're going to continue to go forward with this and have just fun with this. So please give me the good insight, give me the bad insight, but just give me some type of insight. Hit the like button. Let me know what you think about this show, and hopefully you can continue to stay with me as we see what the future holds for this new version of Big Japan Pro Wrestling. And I'm your boy Saint Dez, and as I always say, till the twain shall meet.